Hello everyone, welcome to my channel Whispering Palette. I would always do the flowers on dry paper, and the technique was called wet on dry. But today I'm going to work wet on wet. Means my paper is wet. I wet my paper with this natural hair big brush, and the paper is wet. The wet in wet technique gives you the opportunity to have very soft edges. Okay, so I start layering the paint, and you would see the difference between wet in wet and dry on wet paper. So if I grab a piece of dry paper, okay, so I just want to explain the difference between wet in wet and wet on dry. So this is a dry paper. This piece is a dry paper. And if I put my brush in paint and I draw something like a leaf, you can see the leaf, right? Because paper is dry. But what happens if the paper is wet? If paper is wet with water and then you put the paint, look what happens. The difference is that when your paper is wet, you have very soft edges and the color will bleed into the paper. And the more wetness you have on your brush, the more bleeding happens. If you see color is bleeding on the paper, but if you draw on dry paper, whatever shape you draw, it doesn't bleed and it stands where it is, like this, and you have very hard edges. But with wet on wet technique, you will have soft edges and bleeding. Here my paper is wet. Okay, today I'm going to do the painting, this time with wet in wet technique, and I'm going to do this model from internet. This is a blue hydrangea flower in a glass of water. This is the painting that I'm going to do tonight. Okay, I start with a very light and transparent wash of blue color, and I will have light from top and shadow from below. There's one flower here which I can put the colors, and another flower will be here a bit up. This is the location of other flower, and then there's another flower here. Not sure if you can see, but I'm just showing their approximate location. Okay, I grabbed a bit of turquoise blue and mixing cobalt blue with turquoise blue. And now I start to shape my flowers. Okay, this is one of the flower I have. Just trying to, and you see my hand movements are very random, just like I'm doing the shape of the flower, the shape of the petals, and I will keep this area very light because I have highlights here, so I'm just preserving whites and very random movements of my hands. Okay, the next one will be a bit up here. Again, I add a little bit ultramarine blue to the mixture to get a darker color. And as I said, my paper is wet. You should be very careful in controlling the water. If you use lots of water, your color would be go everywhere and it gets out of control. So you should be very careful about that. Just some hard, some darker dots. I'm just trying to remove the white from the shadow area. We can get rid of whites because here we need just dark. And I will have some leaves here and again a flower here. Just my focal point is here, so I'm not going to show too much detail on this flower. This flower is part of background and my focal point is here. Okay, so for now, just again I grab a little bit of indigo and mix it with blue to get a darker blue. I wash my brush and grab just a little bit of dark and giving the shape of better shape to my petals. As far as paper is wet, I can work on it. My brush today is the dagger brush, 1/2 inch. And this angle helps me to shape the petals. Okay, now I know the location of my flowers. Now I continue with the leaves. Lemon yellow. I need some lemon yellow and then getting sap green. My watercolor paint today is Mission Gold. And the paper I'm using today is this block from Bauhang paper. Bauhang 300 grams cold press. Okay, I will have one leaf here. Another one here. And another one here. getting some darker green, and I want to give some shadows to my leaves. And here I have some shadows from the petals. I'm just darkening the shadows a little bit. Because my paper is getting dry, so I'm trying to show the location of the glass. So glass would be maybe around, just showing the glass here, maybe yes, I think it's good. I will show the glass here, and I'm just using indigo for glass. And you see, with wet in wet technique, I'm getting a very soft shapes. Paper is getting dry here, and that's the reason we can see some hard edges. And because I want to keep my painting very soft, I just try to add some clear water and removing some of the hard edges to have to get soft edges, but not too much water. Here I will have just a little bit shadow from the leaves. And then I can show some of the stems. Okay, so here I want to show the water level. So with my nail I scratch, so it doesn't work. I have to wait a little bit to work to show the water level here, but because it's too wet it doesn't show now. Okay, I can now work on yeah, I can work on the flower. I'm using a smaller brush. This one is 3/8 brush, a smaller dagger brush. And now I want to grab a little bit turquoise blue and just adding a little touch of turquoise blue to my flowers. I just put some stains, then I soften from one side. I have softened the edges from one side. Just I want to have a touch of turquoise blue in my flower. I have two flowers here, and now with negative technique I will separate these two flowers. Negative technique is when you want to separate shapes with dark color. So because now these shapes are mixed and I want to differentiate them. So I put dark color here, and the other one gets separated from. This is called negative technique. And if I want to explain negative technique on this paper again, I have separate videos showing negative technique and positive technique, but again I say it here. So positive technique means when you have your brush loaded with paint and draw a leaf. This is called this is called positive technique. You draw something, okay? This is positive technique. What is negative technique? Negative technique means you have some light colors, for example, some light lemon yellow, and then you grab some dark color and you make a leaf. This is called negative technique. Means you are putting dark color around a light color, or even dark color around the white paper, and you are making leaves. These are positive leaves and these are negative leaves. Okay, so if you go to my channel, find a video, I have a separate video explaining these techniques clearly. I have a video for that. Okay, so now I'm separating the leaves because they are just a bit mixed together. So I want to separate these leaves with negative technique. So this leaf is upper than this leaf, so I just put some shadows here and we'll separate them. Similarly for this one is upper than this one, and this one is below, so I put some shadows. This shadow does two works: separate the leaves and also create some shadows for the other flower. And for this one I can put this leaf up, so I put a shadow here. And then softening the edge of shadows. Okay, and also I can lift some of the color. So I wash my brush and just with a little bit water, I put a line here, and this line will create a vein for me. I'm lifting the color and it gives me some veins. It washes the paint, wash paints away. Even if I grab this brush is angle shader 1/2 inch Princeton, and this works better because it has some hard hair. So look, I can create a white line here. Also I can continue this white line and create some veins. Okay, even I can have some veins like this, lifting the color. Sometimes you have to do it a few times to get a very good white line. You have to do it a few times. Washing brush, make your brush thirsty by using tissue, and then create that line by lifting the color. This is called the lifting technique. All right, for this one, I can do the reverse. It means I can add some line, some veins. So it's good that you have different technique in your paintings, and it just creates some variety, interest in your painting to prevent your painting being boring. All right. Now I can, this leaf here, I can separate them because they are kind of mixed together. Again, with same technique, I can do this, put a shadow, and this leaf now is different. Just separating them and just using a little bit darker color. Also this one is need a shadow here. And softening the edges. Continuing these lines. And also adding just a little bit shadow to this one. It's good to have some hard shadows as well. I think now my nail should work. If I can create a stem. Also here, I forgot this one and now it's dry, it doesn't matter. That's okay. I can have like a very pale leaves here because it's in water, so I'm not just showing there are something in here. And because they are in water, they shouldn't be very clear. It's just in water. And using ultramarine blue, I create some shadow for the glass. And just a little bit of gray. And I make my shadow soft by using water. I just need a very soft shadows. Maybe showing a petal here. And just another leaf, maybe they're fallen. Okay, now I'm going back to flowers. Just adding. Okay, I'm using this smaller brush from Princeton, and now I want to show more petals here. Just getting some turquoise blue. And With negative technique, I draw some petals. Means I preserve the white of the paper by having dark color around the paper, around the whites. You see, I preserve the white and going around the petals. Just here I need a bit darker color. And this one here. And with a very light color, I just show the inside of this petal and keeping the white edge. Okay, here I'm using ultramarine blue. With negative technique, this is my background, so I just do this, and then I spray and I give it some just a little bit of a slope. Get rid of the water with some tissue. This is how I show my flower with negative technique again. And I'm not doing this everywhere, I just leave this area white, just because painting shouldn't be like symmetry and everything shouldn't be perfect. Alright, now I'm working on this flower, but as I said, my focal point is here, so I'm not going to show detail on this one. I want this flower to be part of the background, and it would be a very misty look flower. So I spray water on it and I just send it back. Sending back means my flower is part of background, so I'm not showing too much detail on it, maybe just some misty petals. And this is the beauty of watercolor actually, because everything shouldn't you know, watercolor is different from oil and acrylic. In oil and acrylic, you have hard edges. You can see everything clearly. But this is not the case for watercolor. If someone wants to see everything clearly in watercolor, so what's the point of using watercolor? You can go with oil and acrylic. So I'm just saying the beauty of watercolor is having very misty look, soft edges, and this is the way that you can make your painting or very like misty, dreamy, and very beautiful. This is the nature of watercolor, to give you a very misty look. But there are so many artists that use watercolor like hyper realistic, and they show every detail, but this is not the way that I work in watercolor. So as you see, these petals are very clear, but this one is very it has a misty look and it has loose flower style. Okay, now I think I need a little bit more color to separate these flowers. So I'm just grabbing some darker blue, mixture of turquoise with cobalt, and then what I do, I just trying to separate these flowers. A bit more separation required by adding darker colors, and then softening from one side. And when I'm doing this, I don't kill the white of flower here. I just try to preserve them. Maybe I just try to have some separations here. Just trying to show something is happening. There are some petals. You know, you can work hours of hours on watercolor painting, and it's a very hard decision to make when to stop, you know. There are some artists that their work is just very minimal. They don't work too much, and they just show the detail with a few stains. But I'm one of those artists that want to show more detail as much as I can. And now just going to a bit darker blue, and the more light and shadow you have on your painting, the more beautiful gets your painting. And hydrangea is one of those difficult flowers, difficult subjects in watercolor. It's very challenging when you want to start learning that. And I think if you look at my videos, and I have Instagram page as well, the link is in my channel, you can see that I started doing hydrangeas maybe 3 years ago, and I'm still learning. It's one of those very challenging flowers. Okay, I need some lines in this. Just grabbing some darker blue, darker green. So this is the shadow green and snap green, okay? And I just want to paper is wet, still wet here. Okay, because just maybe separating these two flowers as well. With I get turquoise this time, and just this flower maybe ends here. Just adding some. Okay, this flower is misty here, so might be good if I add background here, or maybe I ruin my painting. So I'm just thinking leaving it as it is and just having some. I think it's good. I don't touch it anymore. Here I have hard edges. My focal point is here, and here I have some misty look. So I think it's enough. Yeah, that's it for today. I hope you enjoyed the video. Thanks for joining me, and I have lots of videos in my channel. Don't forget to subscribe to my channel, and I will save all these videos in my channel, and you can refer back and watch them few times, and you can paint along. And a good thing about YouTube, especially if you use iPad, a very good thing about YouTube is that you can zoom in. So if you go to, for example, this is my YouTube channel, ASMR Whispering Colors, and I have so many videos in the live section. Okay, so whatever video you want, if you open, for example, this one is, I think, oh, this is a white hydrangea flower, and you can always zoom in and see the details clearly. You can clearly see what I'm doing. So the good thing about iPad, you on TV, on television and laptop, you can't do that. But if you are using iPad or mobile phone, you can always zoom in the videos and you can see the details. So if you really want to learn watercolor, my suggestion to you is watching the videos a few times and just zoom in and look what exactly I'm doing. Because if you don't zoom, it's very hard to see. But if you zoom exactly, you can see what I'm doing here. For example, with negative technique, I'm making a leaf here, okay? So yeah, I have so many videos. So subscribe to my channel that you don't lose it. All these are live demonstration that I've done before. Oh, I've done a blue flower before, blue hydrangea here. And again, as I said, when you zoom, you can see all the details. So it's very good that you can, nowadays there are so many resources available for free. You can learn and see. When you zoom, you can clearly see what I'm doing here. Okay, so thank you very much for joining, and don't forget to buy a pair of watercolor paper and watercolor paint and start doing watercolor, because watercolor is very enjoyable. I have so many videos in my channel, and I also have an Instagram page that I show my art in my Instagram. Also, I have some photos from the paintings that I've done. And this hydrangea flower is my favorite flower. So, yeah. Okay, thank you very much for being here. And that's it. This is Whispering Colors by Shirin, my Instagram. I'm planning to have a cityscape live demonstration as well. Also portrait. I do portrait as well. So my favorite subject is flower, but yeah, and I have so many videos in my channel. Thank you very much for being here. I hope you enjoyed this demonstration. And just a piece of advice, watercolor is very enjoyable. It's very relaxing. It's a magical medium. So just learn it and enjoy. Thanks for being here, and I see you in the next live demonstration.